Hello and welcome to the top 10 most popular technique characters as chosen by you guys, the BBS community. Before I get started, there is currently a poll for the top 10 power characters, so please click on the link in the description below to go vote for your favorite power character. And much like this video, the results of that poll will turn into a top 10 next week, so please pause and go do that now, or do it at the end of the video. With that said, thank you guys so much for voting, and here is the result of the top 10 most popular tech characters. Much like last week, the 10th spot got taken by a seasonal character. I'm talking about Christmas Ururu, who is one of very few characters who can actually pull off the high attack strong attack recharge build, which is very rarely seen. But Ururu is a healer who already has the strong attack recharge link, so this build is actually perfect for her. Ururu also has a hollow killer and more importantly, no affiliation, making her really good for autoing things such as droplet zones, where not only the player's killer is multiplied but also the enemies. This is good because Ururu has no affiliation, meaning there is no killer that's good against her, and because she's also a healer, this works out perfectly. As I mentioned earlier, she has a high attack, but she also has a plus 40 bruiser, and just because she has a high attack doesn't mean her strong attacks are useless. Like I said, she is a healer, and her strong attack 3 has a chance of inflicting freezing, plus she has debilitator, which helps out with the freezing in her strong attack 3 and her special. The only downside is that while you can auto a great deal of things with her, it is kind of slow. Her attack speed is okay, but it can only ever hit about one target at a time unless the targets are really close up together. So while it is really doable, it is extremely slow. This is also the reason why she's not that great at guild quests.
そうか、欲しいのならばくれてやろう。ダークショコラドン。
Following the trend of copying last week's list, number 9 is also a Cacao Society character. Though I'm not gonna lie, I did expect to see her higher on the list, as she is currently one of the most used characters in the entire game when it comes to guild quests, and rightfully so. She has a really high SP as well as Frenzy, and she has a crawling vortex, which is pretty much the greatest thing you can have for guild quests. She also has a boosted strong attack recharge build, which is definitely helpful, and she has a hollow killer, officially making both Holly Bells that are seasonal characters better than the actual canon ones, because it's super easy not to give her a Captain Killer K-Lab. This character is really good in PvE, though not so much PvP, but she does have a bit of a downside when it comes to her special and her strong attack 3, in that neither of them are really full screen, and they both kind of slow down your guild quest progression. Still, she's a great character to have, and it's a real shame that you can only get her during the seasonal event or special events that K-Lab may have in the future.
この一撃で終わらせてやろう。
At number 8 is the captain of Squad 2, Soifon, insert last name here, the Lost Agent edition, who I'm actually really glad they made. Soifon is actually a really well made character as she has a really high SP, as well as Frenzy, and a decent attack for a character with such a high SP. She can also inflict debilitating poison on all of her strong attacks and her normal attack, and a debilitating burn on her special. This actually makes her pretty amazing in all things PvE, especially co-ops, as the boss's health really doesn't stand a chance against someone who has so many status ailments. And you can bet she would inflict them too, as she has a boosted strong attack recharge link of 14%. To top it all off, Soifon also has extra flash steps as well as long strike, effectively making her a really good option to take in guild quests, as she not only has great range on her strong attacks, but she can also flash step across the room in just a few seconds.
私が吹き飛ばしてあげる。あなたの心も晴れたかしら。ここまでか。
Next on the list is the former Espada number 3, Neliel, the Parasol version, who is a pretty heavy hitter. She not only has one of the highest attacks in the game, but also a boosted normal attack damage link, as well as a plus 50 bruiser, meaning that by herself, she boosts her own attack by 75%. They also gave her a hollow killer, as well as the paralysis status ailment on all of her attacks, which means even if you chappy her, her strong attacks won't be useless, especially her strong attack 2 because it's a vortex move. Though granted it doesn't last very long, but it does do more damage than normal vortexes. Though don't expect the damage to be there if you chappy her. Though it might be there if you don't. She doesn't have the best SP, but she does have a plus 40 berserker. Nell also has a full screen strong attack 3, as well as a full screen special. I'm not gonna lie, I actually expected Nell to be higher on the list, but she might have only made it at number 7 because she's so new.
ぬるいな。これで終わりだ。月が天章。
Coming in at number 6 is personally one of my favorite characters, Tenzin Zangetsu. Tenza came out shortly after Fullbring Ichigo, and there was a large debate over who was better. But it was no question that both characters were phenomenal, and Tenza is still very much used today, as he has a really high SP, frenzy, and a strong attack recharge link. Tenza also has a Soul Reaper killer, which is undoubtedly the most useful killer to have right now. He also has a full screen strong attack 3 and a full screen special. Those two and his link make him really good in guild quests. It also makes him really good in things that multiply killers, such as inheritance zones and droplet zones. Tenza may not be as popular as he once was, and he may not be as good in PvP as he once was, but clearly people still like him, because they continue to use him and a great deal of them voted for him.
一気に傘をつけるぜ月が天章
And this is a coincidence that number 5 is Ichigo Kurosaki, the Last Agent Edition, who for being over a year old, still holds up extraordinarily well. This is because his SP is still really high and he has Frenzy. He also has a Hollow Killer, which is not as useful as a Soul Reaper or Rankar, but it is getting more and more useful as the game progresses, and I'm sure it'll be even more useful once the Tower update comes in late June. Still, I can see how this character made it on the list, as for a long time he was the number 1 character, and in addition to having great stats and abilities, he still has some of the best range for strong attacks of any other character. He was many players' most sought after character, and although he's not technically Fullbring Ichigo, as this form is his Soul Reaper powers and Fullbring powers fused together, I do hope that eventually we do get an actual Fullbring Ichigo. But until then, this is a great substitute.
千景千本桜影吉王に一家先人か
At number 4 we have manga Byakuya, who I'm actually really happy to see on this list, and I'm actually really glad he made it in the top 5. As far as manga characters go, he may not be as OP as say Shunsui or Ichigo, but this Byakuya is still very powerful, as both his attack and SP are really close to 700, and all of his attacks have excellent range. He was also the first character to implement the barrier move, which really complements his soul trait of inflicting more damage as long as his health is full. This not only boosts his normal attack and his strong attacks, but also his ridiculous special that already has bombardment, as well as defense weakening. It's actually one of the best specials in the entire game, and it allows him to clear entire rooms with just one special, as the actual potential for damage from his specials is ridiculous. This Byakuya also has an Rankar killer, which makes him still very usable, and his strong attack too, the barrier one, is a 160 max strong attack. So frenzy or not, it's still gonna do heavy damage. Byakuya is one of my favorite characters in the series, and I for one am happy to see him so high up on the list.
甘いの
Okay, so this guy is a character I knew was gonna make it on the list, but I didn't know when. 3 sounds about right, as this character is straight up broken. He's the Yama we all deserved and eventually got, as he not only has one of the highest attacks in the entire game, but also Flurry. And if that weren't bad enough, everything he has can inflict a debilitating burn, which is even worse because he has Flurry, which pretty much doubles the opportunity of inflicting burn in your already super powerful normal attack. And if you were thinking, big deal, I'll just kill him before he gets a chance to burn me. Well, sorry to break it to you, Jimmy, that's not gonna happen, as Caleb decided to give him damage reduction as a link, which makes him incredibly difficult to defeat if you stack it. Of course, all of this applies if you use him in PvP, but this Yama is also good in PvE, as he has all that damage coming from his normal attack, and he has some strong attacks with some pretty great range. And although they won't do that much damage because his SP isn't that high, the debilitating burn will eventually apply. I can honestly see how this character made it at number 3, as he is extremely powerful and one of the few characters who can take out Retsu, or be paired up with her and demolish everything. Whatever floats your boat, and then burns it.
そんな狂気を煙を放たれ脳臓反発力無力を知れ波動の90黒棺
I'm not gonna lie, out of all the other characters on this list, this one is the only character that actually shocked me to make it at number 2, as I did not expect this particular character to be so popular with people. But the people have spoken, and they chose Aizen to be number 2, and looking back at it, it totally makes sense. He is the main antagonist for most of the series, and this particular Aizen is actually really good. He not only has the highest SP in the entire game, but also a boost move and a strong attack recharge link that effectively makes this character's boost infinite, assuming you build him correctly. And this is important because it not only boosts you but the entire team, and it makes Aizen's base attack over 800, making not only his strong attacks powerful but also his normal attacks. It also boosts the whole team's defense and focus, but it does take longer to come back than other strong attacks, meaning you are gonna have to rely on the normal attack. Which again, over 800, so not that big a deal. Aizen also has a Soul Reaper killer and a full screen strong attack 3, as well as a special that has the possibility to instant kill. You know, on second thought after commenting on this character, I can see why he's at number 2, though it is a wonder I don't see him more often in game. Now before I get to number 1, I would like to remind you guys to please go vote for the top 10 most popular power characters that is scheduled to come out next week. The poll is linked in the description below, and I urge you guys to please go vote. You guys actually knocked it out of the park with this one, and it got more votes than any other poll that I've done, so keep it going. With that said, here are a few more characters that did get some votes, but not enough to make it in the top 10.
ささやけ村正行こう甲賀
ガキ烈光
どうかわいいでしょう。あんたを許可するわ。
どこを見ている。お前の相手はこの私だ。
行くぜスターク
今さらそんな顔してもダメよ。
冷圧をぶち込んで叩き起こしたいやつがいるんだ。まだ全然使いこなせちゃいねえけどな。
And finally, at number 1 is Ichigo Kurosaki, 1000 Year Blood War Edition, which honestly a great deal of us probably saw coming. He is the protagonist of the series after all, and he's one of the best characters in the entire game. Some people would even argue that he is the best character in the entire game, and I could see why they would. He does have the highest attack in the game as well as a normal attack damage link, and he has Flurry, which pretty much doubles it. He's also the first character to be ranged and have Flurry, and his attack speed is pretty fast. While this Ichigo's SP isn't that high, his strong attacks still don't go to waste. His strong attack 3 is full screen, which is probably mostly used for breaking guards, and his strong attack 2 is a crawling vortex, which is good for increasing the combo, thus increasing the attack damage. He also has a full screen special that, at 6 star, weakens enemies' defenses and allows you to do more damage. But this character does have his downside, and that's in the form of his killer. Having an Espada killer isn't exactly great these days, though I have hope that they'll be bringing it back soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. As I mentioned earlier, please go vote on the top 10 popular power characters, and that video will come out next week.